In the world today, there are thousands of different sports, and there are also different types of sports. And typically, a main factor in the sport's popularity is the location. And in today's speech, I am going to be focusing on sports in Japan, and for the type of sport, I'm going to be focusing on sports related to martial arts. So I'm going to be talking about sumo wrestling, kendo, and boxing. First of all, Japan is most famously known, perhaps, for its history of sumo wrestling. According to Web Japan, in an article titled The History of Sumo, it actually dates back to the 3rd and 7th century. People back then used to believe that it was an adequate way to pray to the gods for a bountiful crop season. And today, there's actually a professional sumo wrestling league, and it is called the Grand Tournament. And in this tournament, it lasts all the way from January to November each year, and hundreds of professional sumo wrestlers compete. And also, it is very widely viewed by the Japanese people and is very valued. Also, boxing is very popular in Japan, although it did not actually originate in Japan. The first documentation we have discovered about boxing was in 688 BC in ancient Greece. The ancient Greeks actually believed that Olympus, one of their gods, actually competed in boxing, so they made it part of their Olympics. So today, it is one of the most viewed sports in television purposes in Japan. And in an article by Vice Sports in May of 2017, 14 million people viewed a single fight between two Japanese people. So that is some very high numbers for a single sport. Kendo, although it is a form of martial arts, stands out from the other two sports because a weapon is actually involved. It is sort of like fencing, as most Americans are aware of, but instead of a little pointy thing, it's a huge sword, and it is very much more aggressive. It actually originated in the middle of the 11th century, according to the Japan Kendo Federation, in an article titled The History of Kendo, and it was mainly meant for battle purposes. In Japan today, kendo is so popular that it is taught in schools, colleges, all sorts of things, and you can pretty much find it anywhere. I also read that police in Japan actually practice kendo, and they use it against criminals, which is a little crazy, but it works, I guess. So sports in Japan can a lot of the time be linked to martial arts, and sumo wrestling, boxing, and kendo are three of the most popular sports in Japan.